You don't need the BA. You don't need the Bachelor's of Arts. You don't need the BS. You don't need the Bachelor's of Science. You need the MRS, the Mrs., and that only takes 2 years. All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lech, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Hit that like and subscribe. I do it for you, and let's party. So you guys know that the whole feminism and gynocentric social order, all of that has pushed women into, being boss babes and independent. I don't need no man. All of this, and so inevitably, there was going to be pushback. There is always pushback. You may have seen this woman on YouTube or TikTok, more specifically. She is the TRADWIFE, and basically she just has her profile showing that like you can be happy as a traditional conservative wife. So she was on with Michael Knowles, and they had an interesting conversation. But the context being that while social media is pushing these ideas that we hate, there are ideas out there that we're in favor of. We just have to make sure we find them and elevate them. It's not necessarily that TikTok is all horrible. I mean, TikTok is horrible, but it doesn't mean that there's not some gems in there. And I really think this is one of them. She definitely is. So let's check it out.
Well, I feel like a terrible streamer. I forgot to give a big thank you to MJ and IndieFilm for sponsoring last night's stream. Guys, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's get to it.
By the libs in the media. Estee, thank you for coming on the show.
Hi, Michael, and thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. First off, when I first saw your name, I was tempted to pronounce it Estee, as in louder, but it is Estee.
Yes, no accent, so
very
American version.
very American, very traditional.
Is it traditional? Because I was going to say, it kind of sounds like a stripper name. Welcome to the stage, Estee.
For those who don't know, Estee, what is a trad?
That's a joke, Estee. Obviously, we are here to celebrate your TRADWIFE lifestyle.
TRADWIFE.
Well, a TRADWIFE is just short for traditional wife, and it is a homemaker, and she cooks, she cleans, she takes care of the home and the children, if there are any, and the online world gave it the term TRADWIFE for short.
What motivated you to pursue this traditional life? Were you...
So this is what her TikToks are typically like.
Raised on the farm somewhere? I mean, were you raised in this way? Or was it a...
She got the heavies!
Conscious choice to become this thing?
Well, I was somewhat raised traditional. My mom was a traditional wife until my parents got divorced. And then, of course, that threw our family for a spin. And I think I felt the need to fit the mold of the world and go get a degree, find a career. And
isn't that the how every woman feels? That's what they push on you. And if you think that is wrong, you will definitely find a home at the Indian Jesus Discord server where the party never ends. That's right, 24/7. We are in there hanging out. And after every single live stream, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we go in there for an on-screen panel where you're not stuck behind your keyboard. You are on screen with me and everybody else. You can cam up if you want to. You don't have to, but it is a good time. Come and join us.
I did go to college for almost 2 years, and then I dropped out because secretly I always wanted this lifestyle. Of course, you need a husband to have this lifestyle. So when I met my now husband, everything just came into place. And that's really...
Oh, look at that. And I mean, like, I don't care how much of a boss babe you are. This is what will make you happy. There's exceptions, sure. But this is what will make you happy. And it's okay that this is what will make you happy. I know that they told you that this is some form of modern day female slavery. But it's not. It's freedom. It's happiness. It's fulfillment. It's contentment. It's happiness.
The inspiration behind it is just, it was a dream.
So do you think that one of the driving forces behind the traditional movement for men and especially for women who want to be TRADWIFEs, do you think it's things like divorce? Do you think it's people coming from a culture that is broken, that lived out all of the pathologies of the liberal age of Aquarius, hippy-dippy sexual revolution and realize that the fruits of that revolution were just poison, and so they're rebelling against that?
Yeah, I think that's actually a great point. And at least for my generation, I grew up being told that you need a career in the boss babe era, right? And I think a lot of women are realizing that they want to embrace this natural role as a woman and be a mother, be a wife, and that is enough. You don't need a career to feel fulfilled as a woman.
Oof. And I mean, look at this. Look at this. I mean, oh wait, is this gonna? Nope. Boom. Look at this. Like, she is gorgeous, and I find this extremely sexy. But she's got a little cleavage, but she's covered up. This is modest. Maybe modest is a strong word, but it's certainly not slutty or anything like that. But I find this extremely sexy. Extremely sexy.
How has your family reacted to it?
My family is nothing but supportive. And in fact, a lot of the women in my family are boss babes, but we celebrate each other's differences and what make all of us happy. And
there you go. So even though she's the trad wife and they're all the boss babes, you can get along. And maybe in that, obviously she said she went through her boss babe phase, but so she might not learn as much from the boss babes as the boss babes might learn from her. But by just accepting that you're different people and like, okay, this is how I want to live my life. And by living that example, maybe they will see, she seems pretty happy. She's not getting dumped every week. She's not getting ghosted every week. She's not playing games all the time. She knows what the guy that she's laying down with actually feels about her. Maybe I want that.
They've shown nothing but support.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Do they think you're a little crazy? I mean, I know, because I have a lot of liberal family and a lot of liberal friends. I grew up in New York, and perhaps I consciously, moved away from some of those ideas too, but they think I'm nuts. They're kind of nice about it, most of them, but they think I'm pretty crazy. Do they think that about you?
Well, they definitely thought I was crazy when I dropped out of college. I was studying to be a meteorologist. And when I told them, yeah, I met my husband, I'm dropping out of college, they're like, you're nuts.
Oh, hell no.
Why not? Well, I mean, why?
Exactly.
You don't need the BS degree and you don't need the BA degree if what you're going for is the MRS degree and you're able to get that in 2 years.
Exactly. You don't need the BA. You don't need the Bachelor's of Arts. You don't need the BS. You don't need the Bachelor's of Science. You need the MRS, the Mrs. And that only takes 2 years. The prep takes a little bit longer, but that's a bar right there. Are you interested in the BA? Are you interested in the BS? Are you interested in the MRS?
That's absolutely right. Honestly, I think going back to our roots and kind of like doing what our grandmothers, maybe some of our grandmothers did, it is really giving women this fulfillment and filling their hearts with joy to take care of their family.
Imagine that. Imagine that. The natural role that women have always played in society, giving them fulfillment. That's weird. Is it though? No.
Now, is there a kind of a contradiction with being a trad wife who is
online,
very publicly a trad wife on social media?
Let's just.
Meaning you are probably the most identifiable figure of this whole movement, but it's a movement that says women should basically be homemakers and running private life. So does it undermine the trad life to be a public Insta celebrity trad wife?
So I would say there is a level of difference. So when she's talking about getting back to our roots and the traditions, what our grandparents did, obviously none of our grandparents were on social media. I mean, maybe you have a grandparent who was in Hollywood or a musician or something like that. But for the most part, people that were homemakers and homemakers only. And he's saying that, being forward-facing, being public, being online about it is, even though you're spreading this trad wife thing, that the online part itself is part of this progressive boss babe. Now, I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think that, it's not like she's, doing what all the boss babes are doing. She's spreading this message that we all seem to agree with. And so I don't necessarily see an inherent problem with that, but let's see what she says.
That's interesting. I get those comments all the time, like, how are you a trad wife? You're online. And it's like, well, I guess 1950s trad wives weren't trad wives if they're using dishwashers and washing machines. If women in the 1800s weren't using those, I think as time goes on, like, life is changing and we live in an online world. And I've been using that to my advantage to really try and inspire younger women who maybe deep down have this desire to be a trad wife, but they're being told, no, you need a career, you need to support yourself, and you don't need to depend on a man. But that's simply not true.
And so that, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. And what I was talking about before, just living her life with her, I think she said siblings or cousins or whoever, that are boss babes, by just living this way. You might influence them, but certainly because they're your family, you might not have as much of an influence as the people who choose to come to your page and watch you. So I think this is a fantastic thing. So definitely go check out the rest of their conversation. I really appreciate what Estee is doing. And shout out to Daily Wire and Michael Knowles for having her on. What did you guys think of her? What do you guys think of the trad wife movement? Do you think that it is, you know, getting kind of squirrely or messy when you bring it online? Is it something that should stay in the house? Or is there no problem with showing that this is a viable way of life to find happiness and fulfillment for women? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Once again, guys, I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.